The case to get Marjorie Taylor Greene removed from the ballot in Georgia has begun. Now, this is part of a lawsuit brought by some Georgia voters, some constituents of Marjorie Taylor Greene, who want her disqualified from office under the 14th Amendment. Now, the 14th Amendment, of course, will bar anyone who engaged in an insurrection or rebellion from running for federal office. Now, of course, that refers to January 6th and her support of the Capitol riots. So now the case is going to focus on a lot of the things that she has said or tweeted that could be potentially, encourage people to commit violence in order to stop the certification of the election, which certainly was one of the goals for the Capitol rioters. So I'm going to show you some videos here. First off is Ron Fine. And actually, in this segment, we're going to show you both of those videos from him. And he is the lawyer for the 5 individuals suing to keep Greene off the ballot. And he's going to start by laying the foundation of the case in his opening statements. Take a look.
Your Honor, this is a solemn occasion. This is not politics. This is not theater. This is a serious case that the voters who we represent have brought in order to offer proof that their United States representative seeking re-election, Marjorie Taylor Greene, having taken the oath to support the Constitution, then broke that oath and engaged in insurrection. And in order to understand that case, it's important to set the stage with some history. There have been past insurrections in this country, and we're going to hear about some of them. The most important of which was the Civil War, or as it was called at the time, the Insurrection. The Civil War involved states raising armies. They equipped them with uniforms, insignia, state-of-the-art military equipment. They marched in columns. They occupied huge tracts of land. That is not the only type of insurrection that this country has seen. Those include Shays Rebellion, also known as Shays Insurrection, and the Whiskey Rebellion. These insurrections were of a different character. They were not quite as organized as the Civil War. The foot soldiers of those insurrections didn't march in armies, they didn't conquer vast swaths of territory, and they certainly didn't wear uniforms. That is the kind of insurrection that occurred on January 6th. This was not a case where the leaders were on horseback leading the charge. Rather, the leaders of this insurrection, of whom there were a number, were among us, on Facebook, on Twitter, on corners of social media that would make your stomach curdle. The evidence will show that Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of them.
All right, so look, there's a lot of context in there. Obviously, a lot of stuff comparing him to the different insurrections that had happened in this country. And I think that's really good context here. Now, a lot of us watching this, obviously, we know it's an insurrection. They tried to block the peaceful transfer of power. They threatened to hang the vice president. They rushed the barricades. They smashed windows, smeared feces, fought police officers. Many of them had weapons, not guns, but rudimentary weapons, poles, flagpoles that they have used as weapons. Some even considered bringing in guns, pipe bombs. There was also a level of coordination between some of the groups that were there, Proud Boys, 3%ers, etc. And so, look, the Justice Department, while they went after those people, and they should, so far, a lot of the people that incited this and may have been involved in planning this, well, they haven't gone after or haven't been able to, pin anything on them yet. So what I've seen from the Justice Department under Merrick Garland right now is not a whole lot. And so I think, I think this case, this is very interesting because what it could do is set a very important precedent that could even affect Donald Trump. And so that's why this is incredibly important. That's why this is very interesting. And also why I'm a little concerned. So I'm concerned because this could be difficult to prove. Now, again, personally, I look at all the stuff that Marjorie Taylor Greene has put out, both Twitter, things on video, and the next segment will go into that. But again, when you consider how fine the line between free speech and incitement is, and the coded language that they often use, and how, generally Republicans, and I think you're pretty well aware of this, a lot of the ads from Republicans are, we're going to fight, we're going to destroy them, we're going to end socialism, and again, a lot of this violent rhetoric could also be interpreted as, it doesn't actually mean a call to violence, even though it very well could be, and could be considered stochastic terrorism. It's very difficult to walk that line. Very, very difficult. And so I don't know how they're going to do it. But before we get to that, let's go to the next video. Here's Maura Fine's opening statement. And I think it's really interesting.
The evidence today does not include surveillance tapes purporting to show that Marjorie Taylor Greene was directing the plotting of the attack. That's not going to happen today. The witness list today does not include a turncoat witness who's going to come and risk their own exposure by testifying that he or she was ordered by Marjorie Taylor Greene to take certain actions in secret. That's not the type of evidence that we are going to present today. Rather, the way that insurrections are organized nowadays is less in uniforms with military hierarchies and chains of command, less with detailed military plans of battle, and more through social media and the mass media. That's the era that we're living in. In many cases, the communications have multiple layers. And anyone who knows a teenager, is a teenager, or knows anyone in their 20s knows that hashtags and memes and ways of communicating among internet subcultures can mean that words that could have one meaning, a benign meaning or even a baffling meaning to large portions of the American public, can carry a very different significance to the people swimming in that particular subculture. So the most important witness today, after Professor Magliocca testifies, the most powerful witness against Marjorie Taylor Greene's candidacy, the most powerful witness in establishing that she crossed the line into engagement of insurrection, is Marjorie Taylor Greene herself.
All right, so now look, again, this is interesting, but I don't know how effective that's going to be. Now, again, I personally have no doubt that she enjoyed the idea of the insurrection, enjoyed watching it happen. I know Donald Trump certainly did from his bunker, and I don't think she has any issues with violence happening to the other side. But again, knowing how a lot of these free speech arguments go, and how difficult it is, of course, to prevent somebody from seeking office under the 14th Amendment. In fact, it's never been done before. And so understand that this has never been enforced. We've never had a trial like this. So this is very unprecedented. I think they would have to have, and maybe we'll see, hopefully we'll see, that them having some proof that Taylor Greene had participated in the rally. She wasn't there physically, and had direct communication with the rioters like Ali Alexander or any of the others that were there, or even tweeting out the location of Nancy Pelosi. Now, one person, Lauren Boebert, was accused of doing that. However, again, just to show you how fine the line really is, now, she had tweeted out that Nancy Pelosi had left the chamber. Now, under this, putting that out alone is not enough to have Lauren Boebert removed from office, at least as far as I can see, because he didn't tweet out her exact location, just the fact that she is not in a current location. So understand that this is how fine this line really is. And so they're going to have to make a really, really good case. And I hope they're able to, because it does set an incredibly important precedent when it comes to people that had participated or had supported the efforts to overturn the election. It's a very, very high bar.